all, including the loon. Now, here's one that I don't have. I think you have more trouble with this than me, but maybe not. You do tell really good jokes. But it's the pleasure of being foolish. And as we've said, or as I've said earlier in just this conversation, we live in a very, well, back then, when I bought the book in 2005 or 2006, it was just as competitive as it is now. Now it's even more serious because the world is sort of in a mess. We tend to lead with our accomplishments, and that defines our self-importance. Performance in work or whatever our field is, maybe we bake the best pie. We work the hardest, we walk the farthest, we have the most steps. We just keep pushing ourselves in this country. And here he's really talking about having fun. And one point he made was, you can't say, I'm going to be foolish or silly an hour a day. It's really an approach to all of life, is leaving room for the joy in it and relaxing. Like, we both have a lot of rules that we put on ourselves about how you should behave or didn't behave or could behave and blah, blah, blah. You have to sort of give yourself some wiggle room there. And a couple things, and I did love working with people and my staff teams, and we would sometimes have we would play bingo at lunchtime. So we'd all get in the conference room, we'd have bingo cards, and maybe I've told this, did I ever tell this on here? But I bought those little Smartie rolls with the little candies, and so that was what we would put on our bingo cards. But then I would just start throwing them across the room at people, to people, and I like being foolish like that. And, or one time it was my idea that we would have an all chocolate lunch potluck. Well, trust me, we were all a little wound up by the time that lunch was over, but it sure was fun. And when you're having fun and when you can instill that in your activities and your relationships, and he's great at it because you're a naturally funny person. It really drew me to John, is how funny he is. Witty, I should say, not funny, witty. So in a way, you are foolish, but I don't think that you want to be.
I agree. I'm funny, but not in a silly. I'm not silly.
No.
I mean, I wouldn't mind being silly, but it's just not. I'm a little bit more sarcastic, and I grew up. I was very serious growing up. I mean, I grew up I've talked about it before, but quite a poor family, and it was sort of ill at ease through all my early years, just not really knowing where I was going to end up or anything. And so I was very serious. I wasn't silly or foolish at all. Now, the older I've gotten, now that I finally don't have to worry about making money and my future, I can let down.
Yeah.
And I have. And I'm very different now, and I'm very much more lighthearted and interested in other people, and just like to have fun and like to kid other people now. But I wasn't like that for most of my life, and I'm so glad that at least now I get a chance to not be weighed down by such daily tasks and stuff as I used to be. So.
Well, see, I think you do indulge in the pleasure of being foolish, and you do it in a way that isn't silly, and it isn't an hour at a time. The examples I gave were more like what he says not to do. Playing bingo once a month and throwing the candy, that's nice. But it's not what we're really talking about here. We're talking about letting there be some levity and space in your life and your relationships for just simple pleasures and joys and jokes and laughter.
Yeah.
And I have a hard time with that because
Yeah. You're
I'm very,
different in
yeah,
a different way. You're foolish and silly than I am because I really like other people now,
yeah,
and I like to kid with them
right.
and have a back and forth with them. And we're in a 62 and over building here, and I just have fun with all kinds of people here, and kind of give them a mildly hard time.
You do. And my jokes all fall like duds. They sink to the bottom of the pond no matter how much I try.
Oh, you have a few good ones.
Yeah, once in a while. Anyway, well, and here's one that I know is hard for you. I think I'm getting away a lot better at it. And that's the pleasure of not knowing. And there's a couple quotes I wanted to read about this. One is from Joseph Campbell. We must be willing to let go of the life we have planned so as to have the life that is waiting for us. And that's easier said than done.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I did mention this to John recently when I first discovered Unitarian Universalism. I was like, I don't know, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I remember going back and talking to colleagues about how, oh my God, and what got me about it really was that there's no heavy doctrine. And one of the things that the minister at the church talked about a lot in the orientation for new members was the concept of ascending truth, that we're always learning and we're deepening our understanding and knowledge of the world around us, of ourselves. And I just love that. And I would go back and I would say, oh, Dan, my gosh, the question is the answer. The answer is the question. And I finally think I was right because I read another quote in this book, and this is from D.H. Lawrence, and he said, an act of pure attention, if you are capable of it, will bring all our answers.
Huh.
So there you go. Now, do I have all the answers? No, I don't. But a point that he makes too, Roger, in this book is that this doesn't mean you have to just wait and see what happens and never plan for anything. You can plan, you can have intention, personal intention, a plan to do what you're going to do or not do. But the difference here in terms of acknowledging this pleasure is that you leave yourself somewhat open. And that if something else comes along or something changes in the environment or you change in the environment, that you can make adjustments and go with the flow, so to speak. And I think that probably all of us could be a little more loose about what's going to happen next, maybe.
Yeah. What was the plan for good intention, or what was it?
It's that it's the pleasure of not knowing.
Yeah, the pleasure of not knowing. Yeah, that's another area where I think I've changed completely over the years. I used to like to know everything. I mean, I didn't like surprises in my life. And I always felt like I was just hanging on for a lot of reasons and didn't want anyone to knock me off my perch, Mm-hmm. But now I'm not like that at all. And I kind of go day by day. And I can actually say I like to make other people feel better. I really do. And I kind of just my day-to-day contact with people around here, I see a lot of people during the day in our apartment building here. And I really do. I like to talk to them and I like to hear from them and I like to make them feel better. So I guess does that answer that question? Or
well,
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know how you still like to know what's going to happen.
Think so?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a fairly structured life in terms of your activities.
Yeah, that's true. Or inactivity.
Yeah, well, in between the structured activities, you're inactive.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Right.
Yeah. I think for me, having been the planner, often, a big part of my work, as well as my personal life and the lives of those who are in my family, you know, it all rested on me. And I think one of the biggest changes for me is as my husband passed away and I wasn't caregiving and the grandchildren lived far away, I can do whatever I want now, and I don't have to know what's going to happen next. Sometimes I really want to, and I get down if I don't know. But, I'm becoming a little more comfortable with the not planning part, although I'm still a pretty big planner. I'm a list maker. Um, and I think that's the area of all of these that probably, if I were going to really get in touch with the pleasure of not knowing. I mean, I have some work to do there, I think. Yeah, we've gone really long.
Oh my gosh. Are you serious?
Yeah.
In a half hour?
I know, I can't believe it.
You get through your 3
We got through all 3.
Okay, good.
And so next time we'll talk about some other ones that I think are areas where like not being perfect, doing nothing useful, being ordinary. I would say we're pretty ordinary, but we'll look at that and coming home next time. So, Any words of wisdom or lyrics?
Well, I don't know. Do you want to sing a song?
What song do you want to sing?
The Morning Side of the Mountain, a few verses.
Know that.
Tommy Edwards. Oh, well, I'm not very good at singing this.
That's
but
okay. You go for it.
Let's see if we get to the lyrics right here. There was a girl, there was a boy. If they had met, they might have known a world of joy. But she lived on the morning side of the mountain, and he lived on the twilight side of the hill. They never met, they never kissed, and they will never know what joy they missed. 'Cause she lived on the morning side of the mountain, and he lived on the twilight side of the hill. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, guys.
See you next time.
Yep.